Morning comes slowly over Helsinki. A pale, muted light spreads across the buildings near the waterfront. The air feels still, cold but calm. There is a faint haze over the streets, the kind that softens edges and distances. Trams hum gently in the background. Footsteps echo in short, steady rhythms. Underground, the metro stations hold a different kind of quiet, a quiet that lingers. Concrete corridors, the soft push of air from a passing train, the gentle flicker of fluorescent lights. It is here, in these tunnels, that a story took shape, a story told in fragments, a memory passed along between people, small details shared and repeated. Nothing dramatic, nothing confirmed, just a moment that stayed. The story begins with a single passenger, an unidentified man, seen briefly on the Helsinki metro in 2002. There are no official records naming him. No confirmed investigation tied directly to the sighting. Only quiet accounts from a few commuters who remembered something unusual about that day. They described a man who boarded a train in the late evening hours, calm, quiet, not drawing attention. Some remembered him sitting alone. Others thought he stood near the doors looking out through the glass. Most agreed on only one thing. He seemed distant, as if detached from the movement around him. This is where the story begins, with presence rather than action, with stillness rather than motion. What is known about this case comes only from personal recollections. Nothing more. No time-stamped footage has been publicly linked to it. No official statement describes it. What exists is a loose timeline made from overlapping memories. A metro train traveling eastbound. A man stepping on at one of the central stations. Some say Campi, others mention Rautatientori. He enters quietly. No rush, no hesitation. He takes a place inside the carriage. The train continues its usual route. Lights passing by in long, repeated intervals. People getting on and off with the ordinary rhythm of a weekday evening. Witnesses later recalled something simple. They remembered seeing him at one station, and then, without noticing him leave, he was no longer there. No one knew when he stepped off. No one saw him exit. His presence seemed to fade somewhere between one stop and the next. A moment unnoticed, a detail lost to time. What remains is the sense that he was there, and then suddenly not. There were no dramatic discoveries, no major turning points. Instead, the story resurfaced gradually in conversations. People shared their experiences of that evening, each with slight variations. A co-worker remembering the man's expression, a friend mentioning the odd feeling of the train being emptier than expected, someone else recalling the man's clothing, simple, dark, unremarkable. The turning point, if one can call it that, came later, when listeners noticed how these separate stories described the same outline. A man seen briefly who seemed to vanish without a clear moment of departure. Some wondered if he had simply exited quickly at a crowded stop. Others thought he might have walked to another carriage. A few believed he might never have been on the train at all. Except in the fragile space of memory, none of these thoughts provided answers. But they drew attention to the emptiness within the story, to the spaces where details did not settle. There were no objects left behind, no belongings, no documents, no recorded trace that could be tied to him. Only descriptions, a coat that some remembered as gray, others as dark blue short hair, or maybe longer. Memory does not always hold shape. A quiet posture, hands in pockets, no definitive evidence exists, no item that could confirm his identity or presence. The story survives through recollection alone, held gently, without certainty. Over time, people suggested different explanations, each framed with uncertainty. Some believed the man simply exited unnoticed at a stop, where many passengers were moving quickly. It is possible that he stepped off just as someone else stepped on, creating a moment where eyes shifted elsewhere. Others suggest he might have walked between carriages or switched trains when doors aligned at certain stations. Another interpretation, shared quietly and without insistence, is that the memory of his presence may have been shaped by the atmosphere of the evening. Tired eyes, dim light, and the monotony of movement. That the story formed not from physical disappearance, but from the uncertainty of whether he was noticed clearly to begin with. Some speak softly of more symbolic possibilities, not literal ones, not supernatural, but psychological, a reflection of how easily a person can blend into the background of a city, how presence can slip past others unacknowledged. None of these theories attempt to claim truth. They remain at a distance, offered gently as thoughts rather than conclusions. Helsinki continues as it always has. Trains move through their tunnels, lights flicker in long rows, announcements echo softly against tiled walls. Passengers come and go, some quickly, some slowly, many unnoticed. Above ground, the city holds its calm. Trams roll down quiet streets. The sea carries a still, cold surface that reflects only what is near evening settle in long gradients of blue. In this landscape, the story of one unidentified passenger becomes small, not in the sense of being unimportant, but in the way that memory sometimes rests lightly on the world, without weight, without urgency. The city absorbs the unanswered parts and keeps moving, quietly, softly. The story of the unidentified man from 2002 remains without resolution, no confirmed identity, no verified record, only recollection, only stillness. Time has passed. The metro system continues, carrying thousands of passengers each day. Some notice, some not. And the story settles into that larger rhythm, a small moment, a faint memory, a presence that may or may not have been fully seen. What remains is a sense of distance, a gentle uncertainty, a question that neither demands nor expects an answer. The train doors close, the tunnels breathe softly, the city continues its quiet movement into the next day. And the man, whoever he was, stays only in the calm spaces of memory where silence does not lift.